Oh, it started fast. I wasn't ready. There may be something to that paid version. I don't know.
I tell you there is.
How y'all doing out there? Happy Easter. Happy Ostara. Happy Passover. Happy whatever you call it. I don't know. I'm a heathen. I don't go to church. How y'all doing out there? We're going to talk some tarot today. But before we do, Lori, you have anything coming up on the way of positive change?
Well, most importantly, I'm here with you today. Happy Easter. Tomorrow, I will be with Denise from Spiritual Growth Tarot on her channel at 4 p.m. Eastern and 1 p.m. Pacific.
Adrian, you got anything coming up?
Nope.
Joyce, you just had, and I didn't get to see it because I have had
Table
a
talk,
very
which
interesting
was
week.
a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was ladies talking about politics and corporations and you guys heard of Kevin Samuels? Kevin Samuels, that mess and being submissive women or not, which actually these are younger. They're one is 30 something and the other one is 27, and they were like, yeah, they want to be submissive women to the right person. But anyways, we had that, and now is my class is coming up May 15th. I'm teaching a beginner tarot class, and I usually do teach classes beginning, advanced, and numerology, so I'm excited to get back. I haven't done it in about 4 or 5 months. And let me tell you something, if you want a great class with a long-term experienced teacher, administrator, this is the place to go, because I teach various teaching styles for students with different learning styles. It can't just be one way, because you're going to leave a lot of people out. So if you're interested, I guess Johnny will put my email address and hit me up, and we'll send you information on it. So that's coming up May 15th.
Tony, do you have anything coming up?
No. Next Friday, I'll be with the gang doing the Friday reads, and
Be on your channel, right?
it's going to be on my channel. And that's pretty much what's happening. I just have to say it. My website is up and live. ShiningHawkHealing.com, and I hope you guys like it.
Congrats, Tony.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
So me, nothing. Okay, so first question.
Okay, wait. I have to go turn off my phone. I just heard it beep. I'm sorry. I'm very.
You go right ahead. Actually, we will be live tonight on Jen Lynn Tarot for our political read. Friday, we will be again with Tony. And next Sunday, we'll be on the House of Lenormand. And that's pretty much all I had to say. Oh, there's Jen. Hi, Jen. And in the chat, yes, there is a subscribers only chat on where you have to be subscribed at least 10 days in order for you to chat. The cut down on the T rolls out there. That way, if the troll is subscribed, you go right ahead. But you have
That's
to
a
be
good
subscribed
idea.
in
Johnny,
order
that is a
to
good idea.
type. Only 10 days, but then again. Anyway, so the first question I have, low background. I was watching some channels out there, and there is a gripe in the tarot community about certain things or certain tropes that you see all the time. For instance, one of them is the pregnant empress, to where the empress is always depicted as pregnant, and a lot of people in the community do not like this. Now, this one, not so much. This is the tradition, but a lot of the empresses are depicted as pregnant, and they can't stand it. So, as a traditionalist, Lori, the way of positive changes, does that bother you at all when something is sort of pigeonholed to where now she can't be a man, she can't be not pregnant, whatever the case may be? So, does that bother you at all?
Not one bit.
Why not?
Because it's such a beautiful card. It's so loving, and it's Mother Nature and all her divinity, and the symbol of Venus, and the pomegranates on her dress, and the she wears universal jewelry. She's got the 12 stars of the horoscope on her crown, and she has the 9 pearls of the planets for her necklace. I mean, she's fantastic. So I like her just the way she is.
So, Adrian, does that bother you when it is always depicted as pregnant?
No, it doesn't.
Why not?
It just doesn't. To me, it doesn't take away from what the card means, the impact of the card, the impact of the beautiful art that Pamela Colson Smith created. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. I wish I had more of an opinion, but it really just doesn't bother me. It's not that deep to me.
Because I have a piggyback to this. So, Joyce, what is your opinion? Does it bother you at all?
No, not at all, because it can mean either you are or you're not physically pregnant. It is sensuality and sexuality, and it is Venus. However, you could be pregnant with an idea, or pregnant with a project, that's in the incubation stage. So you have that aspect of it too. But I think it depends on the person that's reading it. You have to tap into your own energy, your own knowledge, whatever is you as a reader, to really make that card fit what the situation is. You don't have to just be stuck in one way.
What about you, Tony?
I agree. I've never heard this controversy about this controversy, but it just feels as if I don't know. Feels like there's a political sort of undertone to it. Women should be this and don't pigeonhole women and whatever, but they're cards. They're just cards. They're not statements of law or fact or whatever. It's just art and interpretation. And it's just, if you don't like it, don't buy the deck. If you don't like it, don't watch. I don't know what else to say. It just seems like it's so subjective. Why would you be all up in arms about it? It's just like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to worry about.
Because the different opinions I listened to, one, she was always attractive, the Empress, whoever it is, and she was always white or attractive or pregnant, and they had such a problem with this. But the reason I chose this card in particularly, it's not always a baby. And I think that when you get caught up in, oh my God, she's pregnant again, you miss why. And so she's not pregnant just because they want to show women barefoot and pregnant. She's pregnant because this is the only card that can be. So it makes a lot of more sense, because the Empress gives birth to new things.
Right.
People, new whatever. And so that's kind of, I think they miss the why when they talk about, I have a problem with the pregnant Empress, or an Empress who's always depicted pregnant. She gives birth. The Emperor doesn't do it, so who's going to do it? And mind you, if you only had the major arcana, then you need this card to almost be depicted in such a way. So anyway, I think you missed the symbolism to why it is pregnant. There's a point behind it. She's not just pregnant because she's a woman. She's pregnant because, again, giving birth to something new.
Pregnant with possibilities.
And plus, she's an active female, like the High Priestess is receptive, right? And so she's waiting for the messages to come in, right? But the Empress is active, so she would actively go out and seek that condition, that pregnancy, because like I said, she's creating a project, or she's got an opportunity coming to her. But sometimes it is pregnancy. I can remember doing a reading, this is a while ago, and it was on Nicki Minaj, and someone wanted me to read about some troubles her and her husband were having. And the last card that came out was that card. And I said, oh, Nicki Minaj is going to have a baby. And I promise you, about a month later, she announced her pregnancy. So it can, it can, but that is not the definitive. And I think we as readers understand that feeling or that notion, or when it applies to what.
And she has power over life. So you know. Anyhow, so here's the follow-up to this. And Adrian, I'll start with you. There is representation, they feel, in the world missing in tarot, especially in the Rider-Waite, where most people are depicted as men and white men. And here in this one, you have a woman as the King of Wands. You have different body sizes. You have different abilities or disabilities. You have different ethnicities. You have different ages, for instance, in this one deck. And people feel as though the representation of tarot is missing for the rest of the world. Do you feel as though representation in tarot is important? Or are you more, because, for instance, we both have this deck, are you more, I need the name and I know what it means? Or do you really need to see yourself in a tarot card?
It's a very good question. I want to say initially, I didn't want to say it bothered me, but initially I was very cognizant of it. I was like, okay, this has a certain look, certain feel. And so I was enamored when I would see decks that had different ethnicities, disabilities portrayed, because I'm like, that's kind of where we are with tarot. Everybody can pick up a deck and read. So I can do either or, because I have both of those decks. But to me personally, I love it when we see, I think that's the awesome part about all 1.5 million tarot decks. You can pick up one that has birds, crows, dogs, cats, whatever. And as long as it resonates to you, that's all that matters.
I agree. Tony, what do you say?
Tony, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I read these cards often, just the colors alone and, representation of the chakra system. And that allows me to use my guides and use my knowledge of what the chakra system is all about to come up with a reading in, when someone asks me a specific question. It's so subjective. And I just think that there are so many cards now that on the market that you can go to if you want to be represented in some way, no matter, if you're a clown, maybe there are clown decks that speak to you. With the red nose, everybody's got a red nose. It doesn't matter. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Not at all.
Joyce, does it bother you to not see yourself in tarot, or do you?
I think I do see myself in tarot. Now you Tanya said it perfectly. It's so subjective. You got 5 different readers. We all have a host of different cards. There are different genres of cards. For any person you are, there's a card type that might resonate for you. But I think within the decks, I think it is representative of all of us. And I don't take it to, well, you have to be red-haired or you have to have black hair or this and that, as they did back in the day. But the qualities and characteristics of those cards still are true, whether you're intellectual or you're a great mother or you're frugal with your money. And when I do a reading, I don't pull out something for an individual. I'll have it in my mind who I think that they are based on, this pre-conversation that we've had. And then once I do a reading, if that card pops up, that sort of affirms for me, yep, this reading is about you. There you are in the reading. So to me, I think it does. But I also agree with, like I said, there's many cards for many people. And then, we don't have to be gender specific anymore, because some people have come with more of a feminine type energy and they're male, and then vice versa, more masculine energy and they're female. So.
Can I say one more thing before we move on to, it's just like we all have this, the people who are enlightened and progressive, and we all sort of have this thing about, let's see beyond or below the skin, right? Mm-hmm. Let's look at below the skin. So with the tarot, especially with the Rider-Waite, it was created at a time, and we have to keep that in mind. We have created at a time when people didn't mix, or lots of things didn't mix. So it was just created for its time, and there are so many other things to look at in the cards, all of the other things, like the trees in the background, the mountains.
Right, exactly. The colors in the background.
It's just all of these other meanings that you overlook if you sort of focus in on blonde hair, blue eyes, light skin. There's so many other little things that will speak to you if you just go look, beneath that surface, beneath that skin color, and you can find something that speaks to you.
A lot of symbolism.
Lori, what about you?
I agree with Tony. I think that the symbology is really important, and the time that they were created. But most importantly, I think that you are the archetype of every single tarot card at one point or another in your life. So some days or some year you're the person in the Five of Pentacles, or some days, some year you're the Empress, or the Emperor, But so it's a reference point. And I'm glad that other deck is wonderful. I really liked those pictures. For people that are learning the Universal Tarot deck, I think Rider-Waite and the way they were created is great. And then branch off to a deck you feel more comfortable with.
And especially if you're a person that's very, literal, you've got to see exactly you, rather than feel into the energy of that person. They're in that Rider-Waite deck. But like you said, that Waite deck was written so long ago by a white male. Even though a biracial woman created the pictures, drew the pictures, he told her what to draw. And so she didn't really have a lot of independence in making that. But I think it fit the time, and now we've got to move forward and move past that and look beyond, or like you said, beneath the surface.
When I teach people tarot, I tell them to get this. Now,
yeah, I do too.
There is no reason. Now, okay. Yes, representation is important, and it's very important. I have, for instance, a deck full of African Americans, as I say. Everybody in here is Black. So if you want a deck to look a certain way, there's one out there. I have 300. I guarantee you I can find you one. Whatever it is you're looking for, I guarantee you they make one. They make one where there's nothing on it at all. There's just words. They make ones full of animals, if that's what you want as well. The LGBTQIA, BLMNOP, whatever it is you're looking for there's a deck for you. And the Rider-Waite, most readers program it to death because you have to, because the world changed since 1914, whenever it was made. For instance, when I teach people, this is a person with dark hair, dark eyes, or dark skin. So here's your Black person right there, or Black man. Now, yes, you do. If you have a desire to see yourself in a deck, I get it. There's more white, straight decks out there. But here's the thing I always say, that's somebody's art. You can't tell them, hey, you need to put me in your deck because I need to see myself. That's their art. Find somebody's art who resonates with you. Start with this, and just like Lori said, branch off and buy the deck ABC. Whatever one you want out there, it's one out there for you. I guarantee you. Whatever it is you're looking for, somebody made it. So my next question is, and Lori, I'll start with you. Do you believe in buying a secondhand deck? Because do you believe that decks carry energy? Would you buy a secondhand deck?
I'm trying to think of if I've ever purchased a secondhand deck. I do have a deck that belonged to another reader that was gifted to me by his widow. So I do think they carry the energy. I think everything carries energy. If it's a piece of furniture or a piece of driftwood, or if you picked it up out of somebody's yard, it's got energy. I tell everybody, like this cabinet behind me, whoa, the energy of this thing. So you have to sage whatever you're bringing into your house. But if you sage it and cleanse it and wrap it in your own scarf, something that only belonged to you, or your own wooden box, or in your bed, whatever, on your nightstand, whatever, then you should be fine. But that's my opinion.
Joyce, what about you? Would you buy a
I
secondhand
agree
bag?
with Lori. I haven't, but yeah, if I was gifted one, I would take the deck, but I would cleanse it and put it in something that belongs to me. And yeah, feel perfectly fine with that. Because I even, well, you got 300 some decks. Sometimes you got to switch up, so that'd be a nice switch over deck. I have no
Tony,
problem
what
with
about you?
I've never gotten a deck like that. I don't know. I think if you cleanse it, like Lori said, then it should be okay. I just never experienced that, so I don't know. I mean, I'm trying not to be superstitious or anything like that. Because I mean, any kind of fear like that is something that you've created. So I don't know what would come along with it, except once you've cleansed it, once you've, because if you can banish spirits from your space, you got to be able to banish spirit from piece of paper. Right. So I think that it would be okay. I would be okay with that.
Adrian, what do you say?
I only have taken a secondhand deck from somebody that I knew and trusted. I've never had the opportunity to take one. I've never purchased a used deck, so I don't know if because I haven't, so I don't know if I would. But same rules apply, just like everybody else said. Sage, cleanse, set your intentions with it, getting to know you, good romantic relationship with it before you just start throwing cards.
I was absolute. I don't want a secondhand deck, period. No, because that's your energy. Keep it at your house, so forth and so forth. Then somebody gave me this. And I am a hater of the Rider-Waite. I don't like it traditionally because it's washed out and ugly, and I don't really care for it because I didn't like the plaid back. And it's like that whole get down is not my get down. I do not like it. And I absolutely 100% love this deck. I'd marry it if it was a person. And I don't understand why exactly, but this was somebody else's. And they had a whole bunch of decks that they were trying to get rid of. So they sent me a giant box full of Oracle and Tarot and all that. And this is the only one I kept. And for some reason, I like the card. Everything is perfect. I like the card stock. The colors are fine for me and so forth and so forth. But yes, I will keep a secondhand deck. Yes, it does have somebody else's energy, but just like Lori said, or Tony said, if you can banish the spirit from your house, you can get it out of this too. This ain't Velcro, so you'd be okay.
And Lori made a good point that everything is energy. Everything is energy. So it's going to have energy from no matter what. Everything does.
So Joyce, let me come back to you as a teacher of the tarots. Are court cards necessary?
Absolutely. We need to know who we're talking about. I like to use them, and I mentioned it already. If I am thinking I'm going to do a reading on you, and I'm going to think about who I think you are based on the energy you're giving me, the conversation we have, and they help me to affirm what I'm talking about. But now if we're going to talk about your family or your job or whatever, I like to know who we are talking about. And if this is very significant with you, they're going to pop up. So yeah, I do think they're very necessary. And especially the page, that's to me, one of the most important, because you have that ace. Okay. So that's the seed of something new, right? But who's going to bring that in? And that would be that page carrying it in. And whatever that page is the amount of motion and energy is going to be put on that new ace seed, even if they're not, the same suit. So yeah, I think they're very important. I need to know who.
Lori, with all the experience, and you also teach the tarots, is it necessary to have court cards?
I really like them. I like to have them. I think it's very important to have them. I don't think they're absolutely necessary to do a reading. Just like you could use, only major cards if you wanted to. Just use those. They're only minor cards. But I like them. I prefer to have them. I would always choose to have them, me personally.
Adrian.
I just don't know what's going on. I have a love-hate relationship, as in, yes, they are. I feel like they provide some really interesting critical details. And it'll always pop up at that part of the reading where you're like, I don't know that's where that's going. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm kind of a mix, but then I kind of with Lori. So I'm kind of between Joyce and Lori, but you can also do a whole reading without having it.
And they may not even show up in a reading.
They may not even show up. So it all depends.
Tony, are they necessary, do you feel?
The way I learned the tarot was not with the court cards. It was all major arcana. So studying the tarot for years and not even looking at the minors, the court cards, when I finally had to, when I finally started reading, and it was like, okay, how do I incorporate these two things together? But it does help, it does help for certain readings to get the court cards so that you can bring it down to another level, and not stay so lofty. Bring it down to the what do you call it, the white meat.
Can I throw something in right quick? Because you kind of prefaced your question, Johnny, with myself and Lori teaching. In terms of teaching it, you have to have the court card. We need to teach every card in the deck. So I wouldn't, leave that out and then be like, well, you figure that out on your own. That's an incomplete lesson.
When I teach, I do teach them because they are part of the 78.
Mm-hmm.
They're necessary to you, use them.
Mm-hmm.
I know a person who only uses majors and the pages. I know a person who only uses the minors, who does not use any other card, period. And there is, forget her name. There's a reader on YouTube who only uses the courts, kings and queens, and the majors. And that's it. And so if they're important to you, use them. I hate them personally, all of them. Because when you draw them in a reading, especially a personal reading, then you have to play, spin the wheel. Do you know, is there a man, and there is no Bob, there's no name, there's no Ted, there's no Thomas. I can't say, hey, do you know a Gemini? There's 99 people in my office. I'm pretty sure one of them is a Gemini. Should I just throw a bottle and see which one it hits, or how do we narrow this down? So I hate them personally, and I always tell the people too, if they throw you off that much, take it out. Why? Because there's another card that can display that person in your reading. Maybe that person's a complete narcissist and you'll get the Emperor. Maybe that person's the sweetest person on earth and you'll get like a Page of Cups. And that's a little easier to deal with than something like this. But whatever it is to you, the good thing and horrible thing about the tarot is it's broad. Everybody is going to have a different take upon something in here, which is my next question. And Tony, I'll start with you since you don't do this ever, or you might, and I've just never seen it. Some background. The magician, skill, talent. It will always sort of mean skill, talent if you learn this system. It also means manipulation as well, for he is the magician. He makes you believe in the world that he creates. Some people believe in order to get at a certain meaning, the card needs to be reversed because it's skill and talent this way, and it's manipulation this way. So, Tony, do you believe reversals are necessary in order to narrow down the broadness of a tarot card? Oh, you're muted.
sorry, I personally don't use reversals because I think that it sort of negates what the other cards are saying. If you turn it upside down, then what else do you have to turn upside down to what else has to come upside down to sort of hold that theory up? I just don't. It's just hard enough to read the cards right side up. If I reverse them, then I'm like, oh gosh, what? But I think that you can, if there is manipulation involved, you will see it in the other cards somehow, and you'll be able to connect those dots. But I don't have a problem with reversals. I mean, sometimes things come up and it's reversed. Maybe spirit is saying something else to you. Maybe you need to, pay attention to this card, or maybe you need to pay attention to something else that this card is saying. But I don't know. I think it's, again, it's all up to you, but I just don't use them. I'm happy the way I do it.
Adrian, do you feel as though you have to have reversals, or they're necessary to narrow down a card?
No, I don't. You're going to get this no matter whether you have to pull once, 14 times, do a Celtic cross, do a Jimmy cross, do a Ricky cross. You don't get the answer.
I don't know those crosses.
I feel you'll get your answer, especially with new readers. I have a lot of friends and family who are, wanting to do tarot, and they're insisting on reading in reverse. I'm like, but you don't even have the first 78 committed to memory. Can we get that first, then slap it up, flip it, and rub it down? But until then, they can make sure, like Tony said, make sure you've got get the first tomorrow on the first 48. Get your first memorized, but I don't think so. It's the short answer.
Lori, do they need to be reversed to narrow it down?
I personally, I teach, all of the cards, of course, all 78, but I don't read personally with them in reverse, because I think the cards that are, if you have the upright magician and it's flanked on both sides by negative cards like the moon and the 7 of swords, then this is taking that character of the magician and lowering it to a baser desire or a low meaning, a lower vibration of that card, the lowest that it could possibly be if the devil card is there, something like that. I think it was helpful for me to learn, and this is the way I teach. I teach everybody the upright meanings. And then I think it's really important that when you feel comfortable with them, go ahead and read and learn the reversals and use them if you want to. But I just try to keep, I'm the way of positive change because I'm just trying to keep everybody positive. And I think there's enough cards like the devil and the 10 of swords and the set thief and the carney and everything else that I don't need them to be upside down. But that's me.
Now, Joyce, you do read reversals.
I do. I'm very traditional, just like yourself. And yes, because I feel that that is the other half of the story. I don't care what is flanking that particular reversal. I'm going to read them all upright or reverse. As it comes to teaching, that is my students' struggle part. And I think Adrian voiced it so perfectly that please learn the cards upright. Can we get that part first? But right away, we're like week 4. And are we going to get reversals? Are we going to get reversals? Okay, because you're still struggling with the upright as we work together in the class. I probably do present it to them very closer to the end, but not as you have to do this. I think once again, we're all individuals. And I personally prefer to be a very realist person, and I read them upright and reverse, and I let them fall as they fall. So.
To me, I do not read reversals because that's 156 cards at that point. And although I can,
but you can read like that, Johnny. Come on.
Although I can read them, I don't want to, because this means manipulation. This means that this person is not very nice. And so if I need to know something specific about this, something else is going to tell me. And then this in particular thing is going to tell me about this too. So not only is it manipulation, but you may be manipulating people. You might be manipulating a situation people are involved in, and they can't get the upper hand because you got the upper hand and you're being a jerk, and so forth and so forth and so forth.
Yeah, but you can't just focus on that one word, manipulation. It could be manipulation.
You can if I
when
want
it's in
to.
reverse.
I
mean, certainly,
like manipulation.
But
That's what I want, Joy.
it's also like he's stunted. He can't, or he doesn't know the skills that he has, or he doesn't know his creative ability.
And when you pull your cards, that's the story you tell. When I pull my cards, this is
and I will, and you know I will. But I do like to. I do. That's just me. That's my personal choice.
Mhm.
But I don't like to teach it to a beginner that way because it's enough as it is to learn spreads and cards and major and minor and quartz and all that.
So I am not. What the hell is happening to y'all in here? I do not have. I don't teach people reversals because reversals are also personal.
Mm-hmm.
Because to you, this might not mean manipulation when it is reversed. It could be a person lacking talent in a certain area, whatever the case may be. People's reversals change. For some people, they believe it's the shadow aspect of a person. Some people believe it's just the opposite of what the card means. So until there is a concrete, then that is the only thing I can teach. I know concrete, this is manipulation, skill, talent. Concrete, that's what it means. I'm going to teach you the concrete. You're going to develop your own system going forward because you just are.
Even with, let me just say too, even at the upright, like all of us may have one card and we may have a different take on what that card means. It may be similar, they may be the same, but it's all our own perspective on whatever that particular situation is.
So I want to, the next question. Now, this is pulling from my own psyche here. I was watching a person's reading. They're not in this in particular community. They're tarot too, which they do pick a love and pick a card reading type thing. And their table was very nice, but it was full of feathers and candles, and I'm like, that's gonna burn. And I just got, I don't know. It's just like something about to burn, something about to catch fire. It did.
You're uncomfortable.
Yes. So to all of us out, okay, I'll start with Lori. Since Lori, you have a table that has rocks. Do you believe props add to or take from a person's reading? Or does it not bother you at all? Because it bothered the hell out of me.
As the sage smoke is wafting past your face. My crystals I have chosen crystals for my table. They're for me. I'm holding a Lemurian while I'm talking to you, and I'm fiddling with it and playing with it and twirling it all around. So I have seen some other readers where they have, like 5 decks on their table and they have all of these things. And I think, well, that's just my Virgo moon, though. I can't do that. I have to have it pretty clear or I can't really concentrate that well. I think that's, if your space is cluttered, so that doesn't appeal to me. It must appeal to them. So it's whatever you feel comfortable with.
Adrian, what do you say? Does it bother you at all? I'm clenched. Let me unclench. Does it bother you?
Just thinking about it makes you itch.
Something was about to burn on that child table. Does it bother you?
It does not. If it's too busy, I won't, because my ADD, I won't pay attention to whatever they're saying. But it's, to me, I feel like what you're talking about is more of a personal preference and a style. It's like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. To me, it's like pornography. I'll know it when I see it. As they say, that's how you define pornography. You'll know it when you see it. And I'm like, if it's too busy, I'll know it when I see it. Me personally, I'm like Lori, I have to keep it bare minimum because I have, trying to be cute during a client session once, caught a whole wand on fire. So you just.
I don't mean to laugh.
It's funny to laugh. So I'm just saying. I've learned that, but to each their own. As long as they didn't catch them little feathers on fire, it didn't hurt nobody other than Johnny's nerves. That's it.
See, Joyce, what do you say?
You know what I really think is that, and I guess I'm just a woman of a certain age, and I've been doing this a long time, and I think I'm going to put this to young people. Most of us grown folks, like the ones in this room, we don't do all of that. I think a lot of the young people are trying to create an image of what in their mind someone who is a psychic looks like. Okay. Not knowing that we all are intuitive. We all are gifted in our own way. We just don't all realize that, or we've got cluttered up with junk and are not clear. So I think it's their imitation or their thought of what a psychic should look. And I also, I think Adrian or one of you guys were saying about, Lori, all 5 decks and all that kind of stuff. I can't with that. If you need all of that to tell me about me, then, I'll probably do best to just figure my own self out, because it's too much, because I'm not really that complicated. So bless their heart. That's what I have to say. Bless their heart. They spend a lot of money on those gadgets and this and that. And I think it's just for show.
It's something you just said to Joyce is really interesting, because it's being perpetuated, because now that all the popular kids, that's how their tables look. It's kind of
right.
Like, in order to be taken seriously, in order to be part of the tarot tube, I've got to emulate the same look.
Right.
And it's like,
And like I know, Adrian, you can take a deck and just get some 3x5s and write something on it, and you could actually read that. Period, or just a deck of regular playing cards without all the bells and the whistles and the feathers and the dream catchers and the this and the that or whatever. And I have my own collection of crystals and sage and Palo Santo and copal and all that kind of stuff. And, but I'm not about to overuse it or, put all in your face. It doesn't need all of that. And I don't even think a lot of them, it's just my opinion, really even know what all that is for. Some of them are pretty bright. I'm not trying to undermine young people. Some of them are really bright and they will be very good in their time, but all of that I don't think is necessary.
Tony, what do you think?
Well, I'm glad you left. I'm glad you left me for last, because I am a person who I have my wheel that I use.
But the wheel is being used. It's not in the
we're
background.
not talking decorations,
Yeah. I mean, this space right here, this is my actual meditation space. That's my space. Whatever's going on here, which is my Reiki stuff, is going on here. And if you see something on the floor, that means I'm working on somebody. So, I mean, I don't know. I try to keep my table as clear as possible and organized, because I used to be an organizer and I've seen some things that'll make your hair curl. So, I think that it's your choice, but people, I don't know, it's preference. Some people like bells and whistles and
to be extra.
Absolutely.
And Lori uses a bell, which is great. I love that. I love the way you clear your cards, and she's using it. It's not really something that's just sitting there, because she uses it every time. So with those kinds of things, and these kinds of things, it's just, whatever is going to bring you to that place where you have connected to spirit or connected to that person's energy or whatever, and whatever brings out the most information and the most helpful suggestions for someone. I think that's, if that's what you have to do, then do it.
But I think it's a difference, like Johnny was saying, one's props and the others are tools.
Yeah. Like the magician. I mean, he has his table is, that's That's all there is props on his table.
Mhm.
You know, so yeah,
Or are they tools, Tony? I'm just kidding.
they're tools.
They're his potentials, but he knows he can use. He's got control of the emotion, the one, blah blah blah. But at the same time, like, because I think I like that y'all make the distinction between props because you're trying to look spiritual.
Mm.
You're trying to look, like you're the high priestess of your household and that type of thing. Like I got rocks and feathers and fire everywhere, and then I can't focus because I'm like, that child gonna burn them feathers. Like I'm pretty sure you have done 115 videos and ain't nothing caught fire, but I bet you one time you're gonna be like, oh, that's on fire. Yes, it is because it's a feather. Okay, they're flammable.
You're so crazy.
But I get it because I have these. These are mouse pads, technically, but they're gaming mouse pads, so you can put your keyboard on it, your mouse, and your Mountain Dew and Doritos and all that type of thing. And some people love them, and some people hate them because they're too busy. And when I use the cards on them, it's distracting for some people. And all I have to say is watch something else because I personally like them. So whatever it is my table look like, if it's bothering your eyeballage, go on something else. That's all I can tell you because I got them now. I'm throwing them away just because you don't like it. So when I was watching the Fire Feather Girl, I'm like, okay, I have to watch something else because I have zero right to text her an email and get in the comments, be like, you need to move that fire away from the again, she probably got that under control.
Johnny's playing Gladys Kravitz.
All I need to do is mind my own business because that ain't my table, that ain't my rocks, that ain't my feathers, that ain't my fire. That also ain't my 911 call either. So I figured watch something else, So I do have a bit of a problem with people's backgroundage on their tables. Now, all the stuff back here, I don't care if you're in a dumpster, whatever back here. It is where your cards are because that's what I'm focused on. And most people don't like to get on camera because all you're looking at is me. They say, oh, yeah, I like your glasses today. Okay, but did you see that 6 of Cups though?
Right? Oh, all the time. I get that all the time. Oh, I love your hair. Oh, those glasses. Okay, but did you hear the message?
I don't
wondering.
But I understand it though, because I would have appreciated to look at her instead of the feathers and fire. That's all I'm saying. Tony, what was you gonna say?
I was going to ask you what do you think about just hands versus you on screen? Is there like some kind of thing going on in the community that's got I only do hands or I only do
why don't you answer that question, madam?
Me. I do both. I mean, I started out just doing hands because I was afeared
to be on camera.
Then I started hanging out with you guys and I became more confident to get out there and just be on camera. But, I wonder, the people who only do hands, like I've, invited people on my show where they were like, no, I only want to do hands. I don't really want to be on camera. And so I'm wondering if that's a thing in the community. I don't get around that much. So.
Now, from as far back as I can remember, Lori, you've always been on camera. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about the hands and the camera?
Well, I thought about that today because I tried a new church today. And it was a little on the redneck side, little redneck southern side. But I had fun. But it was fun. I mean, it was fun and the message was really great. But I don't
All right, they just hit the tickle bone. I'm sorry. Because I went to a church. I don't mean this in a disparaging way. It was literally cowboys and Indians. It was a bunch of white dudes with big giant cowboy
Oh my
hats.
God.
And then the other half was all Native American.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I'm sorry, go back.
Okay. So, when I do something like that, I've been reading in this county since 1990. And I know that I'm going to go into a place where someone is going to recognize me.
Mhm.
And so it does, while I'm singing and praying, it does cross my mind that, I could have just done hands. But I had already been reading for so long, that I just went for it.
May I ask what state are you in, Lori?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, okay, girl. You're brave.
Florida.
No.
Now, Joyce, what about you?
I don't know. I have really no opinion on it. I've done me. I threw myself out there and it was okay. I've done hands and I find less people will watch, if it's just by hands. They want the full on Joyce effect. So I do it that way. And I'm just going to say a side note, you will run into people that will know you. I get it at the grocery store. People looking like, don't I know you? Don't know you. And I just hurry up and go that way because Michigan is very red, even though it went blue, so I'm not trying to have a conversation or debate with certain people, but it will happen.
Adrian, and you go
Can
ahead.
I just tell Joyce something funny? I was eating in a restaurant, eating breakfast in a restaurant in Matlacha. We call it Matlacha. And somebody had the outline of Florida on their shirt, and it says the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. Michigan's Lower Peninsula. Okay,
Whoa,
sorry. Just had to tell you.
that's bad.
Yes, exactly. That part.
Oh, goodness. Okay, Adrian, you've done both. So what do you think?
If it were up to me personally, I would only do hands. I won't go into why, because it's my business and my business alone. But I also understand that that doesn't quite work when you're trying to do a live stream, especially a live stream where you cackle and act like a hot monkey's butt with your cohorts. So I understand that that's a necessary evil that I'll have to show my face. But if it were up to me, I would do hands.
So me too. And mine nowadays is so this camera in particularly, I don't know how to zoom it out. And so when I point it at the table, everything's right here. And so it's like, okay, the 6 of cups, and it's like, okay, where is it at? Okay. So when you point it down at the table, everything is too close. So I started doing videos like this. And then you get in the comments, oh, I like your face, but I would love to see the cards again. So I would prefer to just show the cards. I don't need to be on screen. I ain't trying to audition for nothing. I don't care personally to be on screen. But okay, last question. And I thought I had it and I didn't. Never mind. Improvise. So I have several decks that are majors only. Now this is the tarot. Technically, all that other stuff, the minors and all that came with the Marseille and the Pamela Goldman Smiths and all those people that put that extra stuff in there. It started with the Fool was not even a part of the majors. It was just, certain cards. And they sort of encompass a lot of stuff. Me personally, I like the details of the minors to accompany the majors of the majors. But do you think that you can get nowadays, the way we have been doing things, the way we're used to doing things, can you get a accurate and complete reading? Lori, I'll start with you, out of majors only.
I think you can. But you're going to get so much more. But wait, there's more. If you add all those other cards in there, it's really helpful.
Adrian, what about, because I have purchased a deck thinking it was a whole deck and it was not. And I can still use it. But what do you say, Adrian?
My kryptonite is that I'm nosy. And so therefore I I want more details, and so I would use the whole 78. It's there for a reason. I'm gonna use it because I'm nosy and I want to get the extra details and layers and complexities of the situation I'm reading on because I'm nosy.
Now, I'm going to go with you, Tony, because you also read a lot with chakra cards.
Mhm.
And they're not, I mean, you as an intuit and as a shaman can pull something else out of it, but they're not, laced with detail. So do you feel as though you can get the most out of a tarot deck with just majors?
I have to go with Adrian. I am pretty nosy myself. I love using the majors, and I can often go into my chakra cards, these specifically, to get a little bit more information, especially for the chakra body. But yeah, it's just like once it's like crack, once you start using the minors, it's like really hard to go back to just majors, but it can be done. But it's a lot more fun and a lot more you get a lot more things to laugh about once you get into the little details. It's fun.
Now, Joyce, as a teacher of the tarots, and you start here and with the majors.
I do.
And you have your minors that add your detail, of course. But do you feel as though you could just teach that and stop?
No.
Do you feel as though that gives you the most?
Here, I'm going to explain my thing because you girls like to tussle on here. So I'm going to say what I think. The majors are our lessons, our higher lessons here on earth. These are the things we're trying to attain, okay, in this lifetime. So how do we get there? Oh, the minor tells us either what's blocking us or what we can use to get to that particular major card that may be in that reading. Okay. So we have to have that because life is mundane and those are the mundane cards. This is how you get there. This is what's stopping you. And then the court cards these are the people that'll come along that will either help you or stop you.
You're going to keep fighting for them court cards, ain't you?
Period. Yes.
I feel as though majors and a major only deck can, yes, give you still a complete reading because it does encompass pretty much all of life. Especially if you program it that way. But I think you miss an opportunity if you don't have the rest. And so, although, yes, you can do a reading with rocks on the ground, I think you miss opportunities for other things. And so, okay, you can also be one of the people who feel as though I pull one card and my intuition will tell me everything that you've ever done in your whole life, and I'll give you the exact answer and blah, blah, blah. I ain't taking that from you because, again, disclaimer, these are just our opinions. This ain't meant to shape or reshape nothing it is that you do. What I'm saying is I think this is important and this is too. That's what I'm saying because it's all information. That's why I always say there are no bad cards. You get the Tower, you get the Ten of Swords. It's information. You came to a person with the question, they're giving you the answer. Now, if you weren't ready to see such things, then you should have had your behind sat down somewhere in front of a TV trying to figure out your own life. And then this wouldn't have happened. So,
but even that, Johnny, listen, even that is kind of good because if you tell me you give me a reading and then I've got the Devil and I got the Tower card, my first thing is right. Mm-hmm. But then when you give me the heads up, now I'm not going to be surprised by the Tower. The Devil situation, I already know what's going on. Mm-hmm. I'm just not telling you. I don't know. But you give me something to work with and something to understand, and I don't have to fear it. And I think, and it's just kind of a side note, but I think a lot of people look at those cards, Death card and all of that, with great trepidation. And those are some of the most wonderful, transformative cards. And then the minor tells you, now take these steps or that step to achieve this or that, those goals. I love those cards.
Yeah. Not most, but some tarot readers do. When you realize that this is important.
I mean, for myself. Okay.
it's important to convey. Like, I need to give you the information because it popped up. Otherwise, why do the reading? I just use playing cards if we don't want nothing scary. You know, the 10 of diamonds doesn't look so scary. The 10 of spades it is, because that's the 10 of swords. So,
but that goes to what you were talking about, Johnny, when you were saying that someone was talking about the fluffy readings or something like that. Remember you telling me that last week? Now, how would I make a tower card a fluffy? You know what I mean? I guess
you call it revelation,
thing.
And that makes it fluffy. If you
Say
call
again,
it revelation. But at the same time, you are deluding thyself. The tower hurts sometimes, but it's always necessary.
It's the oops card.
Something.
Oops.
So thank everybody. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Tony, for joining me and for answering all of my questions and my random mind walks as I do, because you know how I get. So tonight in 1 hour's time, we will be on Jen Lynn Tarot. And thank everybody in the chat for chatting and putting your opinions and stuff down in there too. Very much appreciate it. And we will see y'all in an hour, or we will see y'all in 2 weeks with another Soul Chat. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.